Hello everybody, welcome to my channel.
Steve Jobs. The visionary who redefined technology and creativity. Steve Jobs, 1955 to 2011, remains one of the most influential figures in modern history, a pioneer whose innovative thinking reshaped personal computing, animated filmmaking, music, telecommunications, and digital culture. As the co-founder and charismatic leader of Apple Inc., Jobs combined technological foresight with a deep appreciation for design, simplicity, and human-centered experiences. His work left an enduring impact that continues to shape how billions of people interact with technology today. Early life and the origins of a visionary. Born on February 24, 1955, in San Francisco and adopted by Paul and Clara Jobs, Steve Jobs grew up in California's emerging Silicon Valley. His early exposure to electronics, particularly through his father's hobby of rebuilding devices, sparked a lifelong fascination with how things worked. Despite his intelligence, Jobs found traditional schooling uninspiring and often challenged conventional expectations. In 1972, Jobs briefly attended Reed College before dropping out and exploring interests such as calligraphy, Zen Buddhism, and counterculture philosophy. These diverse influences later shaped his signature design ethos, products that were simple, elegant, and meaningful. Apple's birth and the personal computer revolution. In 1976, Jobs partnered with Steve Wozniak and Ronald Wayne to create Apple Computer. Operating from the Jobs family garage, the team launched the Apple I, a hand-built machine that attracted hobbyists and early adopters. Apple II followed in 1977, becoming one of the world's first mass-market personal computers and propelling the company to rapid success. Jobs' boldest early vision came with the Macintosh, introduced in 1984. It featured a graphical user interface, mouse interaction, and a friendly design that challenged the dominance of command-line computing. Although initial sales were modest, the Macintosh laid the foundation for all modern personal computers. Departure from Apple and a period of reinvention. In 1985, after internal conflicts, Jobs was ousted from Apple, a setback that unexpectedly led to some of his most groundbreaking work. Next, Jobs founded Next Inc., a company focused on advanced computers for education and business. Although Next products were not mass-market hits, their technology was years ahead of its time. Notably, the Next Step operating system became the core of macOS, iOS, and other Apple platforms. Pixar. In 1986, Jobs acquired a small graphics division from Lucasfilm and transformed it into Pixar Animation Studios. Under his leadership, Pixar pioneered feature-length computer animation. Beginning with Toy Story, 1995, Pixar became an industry powerhouse, blending technology with storytelling, and was later acquired by Disney in 2006. The triumphant return in Apple's renaissance. In 1997, Apple purchased Next, bringing Jobs back to the company he co-founded. His return marked a dramatic turnaround for Apple, which was facing financial collapse. Jobs streamlined product lines, revitalized design priorities, and introduced a new era of innovation. The iMac and design revolution. The 1998 iMac combined powerful computing with bold, colorful design, signaling Apple's renewed commitment to creativity and user experience. The iPod and the music revolution. In 2001, the iPod and later the iTunes Store transformed how people bought and listened to music. Apple's ecosystem approach became a defining feature of the digital age. The iPhone and the birth of the smartphone era. Arguably Jobs' most influential creation. The iPhone, 2007, set the standard for smartphones with its multi-touch interface, intuitive design, and app-driven platform. It revolutionized communication, entertainment, photography, and global culture. The iPad and Beyond the iPad, 2010, expanded Apple's ecosystem further, shaping the future of mobile computing and media consumption. Leadership style and philosophy. Steve Jobs was known for his intensity, exacting standards, and insistence on perfection. His leadership philosophy centered on design as a core value, focus on simplicity and user experience, end-to-end integration, courage to say no, belief in intuition as much as data. He often described Apple as existing at the intersection of technology and the liberal arts, blending engineering with creativity. Final years and lasting legacy. Jobs stepped down as Apple's CEO in 2011 due to health challenges and passed away on October 5, 2011. His legacy endures in the devices billions use daily, in the companies he built, and in a global culture shaped by his relentless vision. His story remains a symbol of innovation, perseverance, and the transformative power of thinking differently. Continuing the legacy of Steve Jobs, deeper insights into his life, work, and influence. A relentless pursuit of perfection. Steve Jobs' approach to product creation was unlike that of any other executive of his time. He believed that every component, visible or hidden, should embody excellence. Stories from former Apple employees recount how Jobs would reject prototypes over minor imperfections or demand redesigns even late in development cycles. His perfectionism was not simply about aesthetics, it was grounded in the belief that great products evoke emotion, joy, and trust. Jobs famously said, "Design is not just what it looks like and feels like. Design is how it works." This philosophy guided Apple through the creation of devices that felt intuitive and necessary. Reality distortion field. One of the most talked about aspects of Jobs' personality was his so-called reality distortion field, a term coined by Apple engineers to describe his ability to persuade, inspire, or pressure people into achieving what seemed impossible. Through charisma, intensity, and unwavering belief, Jobs had a way of challenging teams beyond their perceived limits. While controversial, this ability played a key role in Apple's groundbreaking innovations. Attention to the smallest details. Jobs' obsession with detail extended to every part of Apple's products. The elegance of packaging. He believed the unboxing experience was the first chapter of the product story. Typography and interface design, influenced heavily by his calligraphy classes at Reed College. Materials and textures, glass, aluminum, and later unibody designs became Apple signatures. Retail experience. Apple stores were designed to feel like temples of technology, emphasizing simplicity and openness. The Apple retail experience became one of the world's most successful retail formats, generating more per square foot than any other store worldwide for many years. iTunes ecosystem and disruption of the music industry. Jobs' efforts to create the iTunes Store were initially met with skepticism from record labels. But his negotiation skills led to a revolutionary model where consumers could buy individual songs for a fixed price. This shift saved the music industry from the chaos of early 2000s piracy and redefined digital media distribution. The success of iTunes showcased Jobs' ability to foresee industry-wide transformations before others recognized them. Innovation in animation. Pixar's success. Many people underestimate Jobs' role at Pixar, which he guided from a small graphics company into a global animation powerhouse. His willingness to invest, even during years of financial loss, demonstrated his long-term vision. Pixar's films, including Toy Story, Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, and Up, won numerous awards and pushed the boundaries of digital filmmaking. Jobs' leadership emphasized storytelling, character depth, and emotional resonance, setting new standards in animation. Pixar's eventual acquisition by Disney not only made Jobs the largest individual Disney shareholder but also cemented his influence in two separate industries, technology and entertainment. Product announcements as cultural events. A Steve Jobs keynote was more than a product launch, it was a cultural moment. His minimalist presentations, black turtleneck, jeans, and white sneakers became iconic. Jobs possessed a dramatic sense of timing and storytelling, often saving the biggest reveal for last with the famous phrase, "One more thing." These events set new standards for how tech companies communicate with consumers and created a direct connection between Apple and its global audience. Health struggles and determination. Jobs was diagnosed with a rare form of pancreatic cancer in 2003. Despite undergoing surgery and taking medical leaves, he remained deeply involved in Apple's direction. His resilience demonstrated the depth of his commitment. Even during difficult periods, he continued to push for innovation, overseeing key launches such as the iPhone and iPad. His final public appearance in 2011, presenting plans for Apple's new headquarters, later known as Apple Park, highlighted his continued passion even as his health declined. Posthumous impact in the world. After Jobs, Apple continued to thrive after Jobs's passing, but the foundation of its success remains tied to his vision, a seamless ecosystem of devices, emphasis on building products before customers ask for them, integration of hardware, software, and services, bold leaps into new categories. Jobs's influence also extends beyond Apple. Entrepreneurs worldwide draw inspiration from his philosophy of innovation, simplicity, and persistence. Lessons from Steve Jobs's life. Steve Jobs's journey leaves behind a series of timeless lessons. 1. Stay hungry, stay foolish. Quoted famously in his 2005 Stanford commencement speech, it became a mantra for dreamers and creators. 2. Think differently. Jobs didn't follow trends, he set them. He challenged assumptions and broke norms. 3. Focus and simplicity. Simplification was not about removing features, but about eliminating noise to reveal clarity. 4. Failures are foundations. Jobs's departure from Apple in 1985 was devastating, but it led to Pixar, Next, and ultimately Apple's greatest era. 5. Build at the intersection of technology and art. He believed that humanistic design elevates technology into something meaningful. Conclusion. A legacy that continues to inspire. Steve Jobs was more than a businessman. He was a visionary whose ideas reshaped entire industries. His work continues to influence modern culture, technology, design, and entrepreneurship. Though he passed away in 2011, the world he helped create continues to evolve, driven by the values and innovations he championed. Jobs once said, "The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do." And indeed, he was one of them. Further expansion, the depth, complexity, and global influence of Steve Jobs. A complex and contradictory personality. Steve Jobs was a man of contrasts, brilliant yet polarizing, visionary yet demanding, inspiring yet intimidating. His personality has been described as intense and uncompromising, charismatic, capable of energizing entire teams, emotionally driven, sometimes shifting rapidly from praise to criticism, obsessed with elegance and control, a risk-taker who preferred bold leaps over cautious steps. Former colleagues often remarked that Jobs pushed them harder than anyone else, but also made them produce the best work of their lives. He believed that great achievements require discomfort, a philosophy that shaped Apple's unique culture. Controversies and criticisms. While Jobs was widely admired, he was not without controversy. His life and leadership sparked debate in areas including 1. Treatment of employees. Jobs could be harsh, direct, and dismissive. Some employees described him as a perfectionist who would Interrupt or insult others during meetings, dismiss ideas, abruptly demand long hours and rapid results, yet many also said they achieved extraordinary results because of his pressure. 2. Labor issues in the supply chain. Apple faced scrutiny over working conditions in overseas factories, particularly Foxconn. Although Jobs argued that Apple was improving conditions, critics claimed more could have been done earlier. 3. Early denial of paternity. In his early 20s, Jobs denied being the father of his daughter Lisa Brennan Jobs despite evidence to the contrary. The relationship later improved, and Jobs acknowledged her fully in adulthood, but this chapter reflected his personal struggles. 4. Closed ecosystem philosophy. Jobs's insistence on a closed, tightly controlled ecosystem, including restrictions on software, devices, and repairs, generated debate. While many praised the stability and user experience, others criticized the lack of openness. These controversies highlight the complexity of a man whose strengths and flaws were intertwined. Design culture. In the Apple way, Jobs's approach to design was deeply philosophical. His principles reshaped the global tech design landscape. 1. End-to-end integration. Apple controlled every layer. Software, hardware, operating systems, services, stores, packaging. This seamless integration became the company's biggest competitive advantage. 2. Removing, not adding. Jobs often said, "Innovation is saying no to 1,000 things." He believed that removing clutter, complexity, and unnecessary features was the key to elegance. 3. Human-centered experiences. Jobs's goal wasn't just to build products, it was to create experiences that felt magical. From the backlit keyboard to the slide to unlock gesture, every detail was crafted to bring joy. Impact on global culture. Steve Jobs shaped not only technology but also global culture in several profound ways. 1. Smartphones as extensions of identity. The iPhone didn't just start the smartphone era, it redefined communication, photography, social interaction, and media consumption. 2. Creativity for everyone. From GarageBand to iMovie to the App Store, Jobs believed technology should empower creativity, not hinder it. 3. The rise of minimalism. Apple's clean design aesthetics influenced architecture, consumer goods, websites, fashion, branding. Across industries, minimalism became a worldwide trend. 4. Digital music and streaming. Jobs's iTunes revolution directly
Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.